Hello, this is a short video to show you a trick called hopping halves. If you've already bought the trick, you'll have had the link to the version which goes on to explain the method and a few tips. If you haven't bought the trick, all you're going to see is the effect and presentation. So let's get down to it right now. My great-great-grandfather went to live in America, and he was a magician, and he used to do a trick with 2 coins. He'd use a $1/2, which was like this coin, and one of the old-fashioned pennies, which is like this coin. And what he used to do, he'd take the 2 coins and show them very clearly so everybody could see them. And then he'd take one of the coins, say the $1/2, and while everybody was watching very carefully, he'd take the $1/2 and he'd put the $1/2 in his pocket. And you know what? That's right, it used to jump straight back in his hand. So he'd have a $1/2 and a penny. Now, he taught the trick to my great-grandfather, but he did it slightly differently. He'd still show the coins very clearly to everybody, and he'd let them have a good look at them. And what he used to do, he used to take the penny, and while everybody was watching the penny, he'd take that penny and he'd put the penny into his pocket. And do you know what? Yes, it did. It used to jump straight back in his hand. Well, that was fine, but he taught it to my grandfather. Now my grandfather, he did it slightly differently. He'd still take the 2 coins, and while everybody was, oh, could you hold that for a moment? While everybody was watching, he'd take the penny and no, I've got that wrong. He used to take the $1/2 and he'd put the $1/2 in his pocket. And you know what? It did, yeah, it did. It used to jump straight back in his hand. So he'd have the $1/2 and the penny. And while everybody was watching that, he'd take the penny and he'd put the penny in his pocket. And you know what? The old bugger died, didn't teach me, and I can't do it. So that's the end of the trick. Now, for those of you who've already bought the trick, here comes the explanation. Well, first of all, let's open the packet and see what you actually get. And what you get inside the packet is 2 coins. Well, it looks like 2 coins at first, but it's actually a bit more than 2 coins. You get the $1/2 and you also get the penny. Now the $1/2 isn't just a $1/2, it's actually a shell coin and a $1/2. Now this is an expanded shell, so you can actually put it over top of any $1/2 you've got. Although because American coins do vary in size slightly, because they've got 4 different mints, do check it carefully just in case you've got one that's a little bit oversized or slightly damaged. But that $1/2 will actually fit inside the shell. So that appears to be 1 coin, and you can show it both sides. It's best to show it on the shell side mainly and give it a quick flash on the other side. If somebody's particularly sharp-eyed, they will see that there's a slight discrepancy on the edge. But if you show it that side and just flash it that side, it looks perfectly fine. Now the penny, again the penny's got an expanded shell, so you get a penny with an expanded shell. Now that shell will fit over the penny, but there's more to it than that, because I'm going to take the shell off and turn the coin over, and we'll find that the penny itself, it was inside, is also a shell. Now this isn't an expanded shell, it's a normal shell which would normally fit on the cut down coin. Now that goes over top of the $1/2 which is inside it, but that $1/2 is quite thin, and on the back of it, it has a penny. So you've got a coin which is a $1/2 one side and a penny the other. So that's $1/2 and penny. Now that assembles with the first shell to make a complete penny coin. And then if you put that head side down and put the tail side on top, you've now got a penny. Now that looks perfectly fine. It's got a little discrepancy on the edge if you turn it over, so if you show that side mainly and just flash that side, it'll look okay. When you've taken that shell off, if you turn the coin over, again you can't see anything wrong with it unless you, and even on this one, because it's not an expanded shell, you can show the reverse side of it for a much longer period. Okay, so that's the coins you get. Now here's the handling. You show both coins, you can show them on both sides, but show them mainly on the good side at the tips of your fingers. you now put the two coins together and drop them onto the fingers of the one hand. Now all you have to do is lift the shell off, but obviously if you do it like that, everybody's going to see. So you do it while the hand is covering the shell, and then you turn the other hand away so that you can drop the shell on top of the back of the hand. So you've hidden the fact that there's another coin inside it, and it looks perfectly fine on the back of the hand. You can now take it, show it at the fingertips and put it in your pocket. When you open your hand, you've again got the two coins. Obviously what you do is you show them both sides, you put them back together, but this time you put the penny on top. Again you reach over, covering it, lift it off so that it's just clear of the shell, turn your hand away and drop the coin on the back of the hand. You can at this point, if you wish to, flick it and spin it in the air, because this coin is copper on both sides. Now you're taking a risk if you spin the silver shell in the air, because the silver shell will show copper inside. Although if you do polish it with Goddard silver dip, it will make the inside of the shell look silver as well. And if you do want to do the thing where you flip the coin in the air, I shan't do it now because it'll go out of camera shot. But it does rotate like that, and if it's going quickly, you can't see anything with a copper coin. That can go into your pocket. Do make sure you put the two shells head to head, because they're very close in size and it is possible to jam one inside the other. Before you bring your hand back out, leaving your hand in your pocket, you can now open your hand and show both coins. Now you can bring your hand out of your pocket and show it empty. Take the penny. Now you're going to have to turn the penny over, because you're going to want it to release from the shell. Oh, I've already turned it over. But you do need to make sure it's head side up this time, whereas previously it had been tail side up. You now say, oh, could you hold this coin for me for a moment? And you give it to the spectator to hold, and you say that he used to put the penny in his pocket. Oh no, I'm getting it wrong. You take the $half off them. This has given them a chance to hold the coin, which the coin you're giving them to hold is a perfectly normal, natural, unfake coin, so there's no danger in that. Now the last move is slightly only marginally more difficult than the lifting the shell off, because what you do is you reach over with your thumb and lift the shell up with your thumb. Now as you lift it up with your thumb, you drag it slightly backwards so that you can see both coins in the hand at the same time. Now in real time you turn your hand down like that, which makes it easier to get your thumb on the edge, and as you turn it over you slide the shell backwards. Now for the last vanish, your hand comes over, and what you do, you conceal it from their view, but what you actually do is you just push the $half underneath the copper coin, take the copper coin and close your hand at the same time. So they can't see that the silver coin is no longer there, but you can clearly show that it's just the copper coin that's going. Then you snap your fingers, you come up with the tagline, the old bugger died, didn't teach me and I can't do it, and you clap your hands together, and that's the end of the trick.